these next two factors. One is subcutaneous belly, side, and back fat. If you have a ton of fat on your lower back under your skin, you have a ton of fat under your skin on your sides, and you have a ton of fat under your skin on the front of your stomach, you're going to have a big belly. And it's not because anything inside your abdominal wall is big. It's just because you're really storing a lot of fat just underneath it. And here's a huge reminder for you guys, because this video is about what massively targets belly fat in a way that nothing else does. It sure as shit isn't crunches. You can do a million crunches and basically changes nothing. You cannot spot reduce fat as far as we can tell. So don't bother with it. And lastly, and this is very, very important, is visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat that's located between your organs that are inside your abdominal wall. And if you are one of these folks that has actually quite ripped abs, but you still have a bit of a pooch belly and you can't suck it in, there's a high probability you have a higher than average amount of visceral fat. This can give you a belly, even if you have ripped abs. If you guys know like that, like old man lean, where the guy's shredded, but his stomach is kind of poochy, sometimes that's because of high degrees of visceral fat. Here's the thing with visceral fat. It is hugely contributive to having a big belly, but it has way bigger problems than that. You say, what could be a bigger problem than being aesthetically unappealing? Well, try these on for size. Having a high degree of visceral fat contributes to system-wide inflammation that really just degenerates your health and makes you age faster in almost every way we can measure. It contributes to much poorer cholesterol and triglyceride values, which kills you faster and gives you heart disease more quickly. But don't worry, you're also getting some diabetes action in there, because having higher visceral fat actually seems to causatively contribute to higher increase of insulin resistant and eventually type 2 diabetes, which are real bad for gains and just about the rest of your life. And in fact, one of the reasons evolutionary psychologists suppose that smaller waists are attractive on people is they actually signal health. Like if you have a really big waist, there's a chance you're very healthy, but that chance is lower. And so we're dealing with very low information environments in our evolved ancestry, which our brain evolved in to try to figure out who's attractive, who am I going to try to skeet into and who not. Did I say that too curt to say? That's really what we're talking about. If they have a smaller waist, your brain's like, they're probably healthier than average. Focus on them. Now, visceral fat is gnarly because the older you get just with age, the more visceral fat you accumulate. And so a smaller waist is also the hallmark of youth in a big way. And in fact, a small waist may in large part be attractive because it signals youth in addition to health. So that's a thing. And if looking younger and healthier is a thing you're into, having a big gut doesn't line up with either one of those.